This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.
Hello and welcome back to the Daily Saints Pod. My name is Greg, here today for episode 473, and as always joined by my good friend and wonderful co-host, Zach. Mate, real football's back. How excited are we?
Oh, you can't call the Carabao Cup real football? That was a direct quote from you the other day.
I know, but look, it's exciting. We're back in business. We've got a match preview. Like, I don't even know if I remember how to do these. It's been so long.
We guess who's going to play and usually have an indication of who's going to play. And then when it got to the point we basically had a starting 11, it was whether it's starting 11 A or B. So now it could just be roll the dice on basically any of the people we have. But also it's the Carabao Cup. So the chances are it's actually probably going to be a B team, if not a C team. Will we see Ben Burton Diaz in a Saints shirt again? Who knows? Let's find out.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we'll be looking for, right? And you're right, it's such a tricky one to predict the lineup for, as it always is at the start of the season, and even more so because it's the Carabao Cup, and there is a tendency to not take it with the utmost of seriousness.
And also for the fact that it's Colchester, like it's not. We have barely any history. The last game we played against Colchester United, mate, was on the 5th of March 2011. When we were in League One, where we beat them 2-0 with goals from Oxlade-Chamberlain and Dean Hammond.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's been a very long time.
There is a single member of our team that is still with the club, unless you count Adam Lallana in the coaching of the under-21s.
Crazy. Absolutely wild, right? It's going to be very interesting. But what we do know is the folly of pre-recording episodes, right? Because we do know that...
We should come out and apologise for that, for the simple fact that Greg had a wonderful day yesterday out at Gladiators in Sheffield, to my knowledge. Other than lots of driving and in a day is always tough. But for the last couple of weeks, we have had, when it's come to transfer news, it's been very, here is one thing that's happened this week. Other than that, here are maybe some rumours with no concrete evidence.
Yeah.
Considering that's been the pattern of play for the last couple of weeks, we made a decision, which has turned out to not be a great one, to basically do all of the transfer news on Tuesday, which subsequently means that instead of talking about Shay Charles going to Fulham, which is, I think, basically confirmed at this point, Leeds, he's now going to Fulham, which is basically confirmed at this point, before I get that completely wrong. We had absolutely no news on Jay Robinson, because that kind of came out of nowhere, and he's gone to visit former Saints manager Ivan Juric, who he did not play for, weirdly. However, that went down. I imagine probably there's ownership links. Who knows? That was kind of it. And obviously, there's been numerous links to Daniel Jefferson at this point. Ross Stewart, as of today, as of recording, has now signed for Swansea. So we got one thing right, kind of. But yeah, it was the fact that we gave you all of the up-to-date information that we had Tuesday afternoon, and it turned out that one complete day threw all of that in the bin. And that, my friends, is the nature of football.
It's almost that like we jinxed it into existence.
It's comical. It's literally comical.
Yeah. But, it is what it is, and what that means is we know that Shay Charles and Joe Robertson probably aren't going to play against Colchester. So
yeah, that's true.
Help us a little bit.
Luckily, I put some quite ambiguous, sort of social media tidbits out there, because if not, it would just be wrong.
Yeah. But hey, look, we talked in the episode about how we were recording on Tuesday, so we
did. So that hopefully makes us feel like a little bit, but it's fine.
But yeah, a crazy whirlwind of transfer news. Also, not related to this game that we're previewing at all, but a very nice home kit for the women's team announced.
Well, it seems a bit Marmite, mate, because you might say that, but there's a lot of people that are real unhappy with it. And I don't really know why, because I think that it's quite nice. But then again, I'm also an outlier for something a bit different. And
yeah, I like it. I think
really it's really weird to me that a lot of the people that are really complaining about it are also the same people that would have complained that our current kit is too like 2 years ago. And I'm like, well, there's not really a huge amount you can do with red and white stripes, right? That is one of the things you could do. Is you could make them diagonal, make them be a bit like wavy and stuff, but you can't really do a huge amount different every time, right? So they've made something quite similar to the Premier League season, and some people are mad about that. And the women's kit is something completely different to differentiate them, which is like fair enough. But I think it's really nice. I wouldn't have been upset if that was the men's kit. I still think the away kit is a thing of pipe dreams at this point. I just don't think it's real, mate. I'm starting to believe that it was the rumored one that people had seen, and there was so much outcry and worry that they weren't going to end up selling it that they just scrapped it. Alternatively, similar to like a couple of years ago, we had the same problem. There's like supply chain issues specifically for the away kit. Maybe they use it a specific dye that's running low. Who knows? You'd think that like a football club with thousands of pounds, hundreds of thousands of pounds to invest in certain things such as merchandise to keep their business afloat will be able to have all of this sorted out by the time the season actually starts.
It just feels really strange, doesn't it? It's such a bizarre one.
Is it all just more like fallout from Spygate? Maybe, like, I don't know. Was the third kit something they had planned for ages, so they had more time? Is it that they've realised that their away kit is going to clash?
We're going to have to take that silhouette logo of binoculars off the back of the kit. It's going to look really dodgy.
Like, who knows? Like, there's a multitude of reasons as to why we haven't got one yet. What is like, what is a talking point is like, it's weird. It's the day before a game, and like we'd expect all the kits at this point out. Is it they're just hoping that people will trawl through who've bought a home kit already and also buy the away kit if it's that nice? Maybe. I just think it's a bit bizarre.
It's really strange to me because I still cannot. I appreciate that colours are not my strong suit, but I just cannot work out what kit we're going to wear against Colchester tomorrow. Like, I can't claim to know a lot about Colchester, but I do know that they play in blue and white. So, it feels like that clashes with both of the kits that we've already got out. And
yeah, unless they're playing their away kit, right? But I don't even know if your current away kit that I'm seeing that's yellow is up to date, because that was their last season ones, right? So,
yeah.
I think their away kit is yellow, and I think they've got a third kit that's black. So maybe we just play the home kit. But if we do play the home kit, to me that means that it's like a shocking admission that we actually haven't finished what we're doing with the away kit at all. So they've either completely scrapped it because they knew people didn't like it and are still figuring it out, or there's something bad that they're not telling us about it, and then eventually tell us later. I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird and annoying. It's like I can't work out which kit I'm going to get. So probably at this point the third one, unless the away kit is an absolute banger, which I don't know if.
Feels like if it was, we might have heard about it.
Yeah, we'd have probably seen it by now. They'd probably want us to spend the money. But anyway, we can talk about kits all day long.
And we could. Yeah. Well, look, no specific pre-match press conference for this one, but obviously we've had all of the talk and interviews in pre-season. We've heard plenty from Tonda. We had messages from Jack Stevens.
Flynn Downs time as well. I'm pretty sure that's tonight.
That is tonight, yeah.
So we'll know by that point what's going on.
Yeah, well, we can cover that and the outcomes of that in more detail next week, I'm sure. But yeah, look, it's going to be really important to start the season off with a win, right? That's, I think, what we're going to be heading into it looking for. I think, especially with like a full week until our actual first league fixture, I don't see us putting out a weaker squad this time. I really think we're trying to get minutes in the leg, because that's why Tonda's come out and specifically said that we set up pre-season camp to have 3 games in a week, which is unusual for a pre-season camp because we're just building up what we're going to need in the season. It's about getting minutes in the legs. Yeah. So I really think that that's what carries on here. I think that what we see at Colchester is probably going to be pretty close to our best starting 11 for the league.
I think there's going to be some people that are given more time. I don't think we'll see Azaz. I don't think we will see Lauren as of yet, which is going to pose a very interesting question as to who we put up front. And the reason being is that he basically got back like last week. And I feel like you're not going to chuck him straight into a game this quick. I might be wrong. but I don't see him.
Some players just like it, mate. Some
Yeah,
players
no,
do just want to get
true.
chucked
There
in,
are
and
some players
Larin
that
definitely
like it,
strikes me as that.
and then they pick up an injury like 2 games into it because they've overworked
Well, yeah,
themselves,
true.
and that is always a fear. Like there's a reason that you have physios, right? Because if
Yeah,
not, you've always got play. You hear all the stories of the time about former players being like, "Yeah, I just basically played for a broken leg, so I didn't have to, get subbed off," and that's great until they end up picking up a severer injury for the course of the season when we need them most. So I actually don't know. If what you're saying is that the extra games might be considered a burden, which is to play devil's advocate, because usually I'm the other way around. I do think we'll see a bit more of a rotated squad just because that
yeah,
maybe it's a chance to see who else is doing what. And by that, I mean, like, I don't know if we'll see Bree. I think it might
yeah,
be a mix up between Rorislev and Sugawara. I think that, we might see Wellington at left back, although Manning does seem somebody that is hungry for it. Centre back, are we going to persist with Jack Stevenson, Taylor Harbour-Bellis, despite the fact there's still rumours about Taylor Harbour-Bellis going? Do we try and get the best out of him? For me, there is too many things. Like I think goalkeeper is
yeah,
nailed on. I think that you just start Peretz to get him the minutes like you've discussed because it's a goalkeeper. It's not going to be as much strain on the body.
yeah.
But considering how long and tough this championship season is going to be, mate, I don't know if I necessarily agree that we're going to go full
Oh
force
no.
day one.
There's actually a quote from a Tonderecker interview. I think it was the post-match press conference from the friendly, and it's a really like small bit of the quote that I think you could quite easily look past. But he was talking about Tom Fellows, and he said specifically, if it was a proper league game, we might have risked him. And what I read into that beyond all else is league, which this isn't. So maybe you're right. Uh, like I think there'll be a reasonably strong side, but if there's someone who's like, oh, it's a 50-50 whether we'd risk them or not, we'll probably err on the side of caution. Whereas if it was a league game, perhaps we err on the side of risk. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be really interesting. You're right. I think Peretz is nailed on. I think we probably do see Bree. I think
Yeah,
I think we'll see Bree and Manning.
I just feel like it's a bit of a waste to kind of build up all the fitness
Yeah,
for the both Sugawara and Rorislev to then not play them in a game where they're probably more likely to get minutes than the main campaign. That's all I'm saying is
maybe.
that, like, for me,
Yeah,
it's just, if not, you're talking about building up minutes. It's a perfect opportunity. Theoretically, no offense to Colchester, but they're a team we should probably be beating. They're also a
yeah,
team that we should, you want to respect every side, but I think we don't have to play our strongest 11. So
mm,
I wouldn't be surprised if, considering the absolute immense effort that Pre put in towards his entire return and how he secured himself along with Bill here, etc. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you give Rorislev a little run out. Maybe it comes on later. Maybe Sugawara is in the run in for a transfer again. I don't think it's ruled out, put it that way. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I just feel like that when else are you going to have an opportunity to drill some of these players, right? Because you
yeah,
don't want I don't want an experiment in the championship when we need to start fast. But you
yeah,
also want to work the rustiness out of the players, which is the flip side of it. So, oh man, match previews, isn't it? It's hard.
yeah. Look, there's going to be a game of football, and we'll find out the answers. Right, that's the joy of it. But yeah,
Yeah,
look, you're right. Colchester, an opposition, from realistically 2 leagues below us, so a team that we absolutely should be going into the game expecting to beat whatever team we decide to field. And you would think that the aim would actually be to comfortably beat, right? Especially at the start of the season, we talked about the importance of a fast start. We probably want to decisively beat them, not just scrape through it, I would have thought.
yeah. I think I agree. Hopefully it'll be, like a couple of those games that were Carabao Cup last season and FA Cup and stuff, where we just get like a really big win to build confidence elsewhere. Even if some of the, it's difficult because you really want that, but I don't know. Like if we scrape by a 1-0 win, would we feel happy with that going into the season? Probably not. And where it's actually competitive football as well, it's a bit different to say, like a loss in a friendly or a 2-1 in a friendly. So yeah, there's lots of philosophies around it, but I'd like to think we'd put a few past them.
Yeah, for sure. Look, a team that finished 12th in League Two last year, so comfortably mid-table. Scored plenty of goals, 62 goals scored in 46 games, but also let in plenty, 50 goals conceded. So you know, even anticipating the approach where potentially they don't come and play and sort of hold this low block and try and survive. You'd think we're going to have enough, whatever team we field, to do the business, and that I think is the expectation coming in, for me at least. And you would assume the same from management, right? From Tonda to come in
Yeah,
and
obviously we've still got this overhanging ban as well, and I don't think we'll hear news by Saturday. So I'm assuming
no.
he'll be in the dugout.
Well, the most recent I heard was from Adam Blackmore, who suggested we probably won't hear anything until September. So
The problem is that it will take as long as it takes for them, right? I don't know if
yeah.
that's like the maximum before they're actually allowed to say anything. But
Hmm.
it's sort of a overhanging thing. So then the flip side is that maybe we do bat the strongest 11, and then he gets an opportunity to kind of be on the touchline and say what he needs to say and tweak things he wants to tweak before the game actually starts, right? That's not really a thing I'd thought much about beforehand. I know that they've trialled this whole what it's like to be in the stands, right? Which was
Hmm.
successful, technically. We won that game. So, yeah, but it'll be I don't even know if it'll be a thrilling encounter. It might end up being not that thrilling. Again, it's against quite a low opposition, so it could just end up being either a walkabout or just one of those like horrible games where nothing really happens and we score one at the end. Ironically, from
No,
like a James Bree style. But
I just think it's going to be worse than that. I think it's going to be like a tetchy affair because we're probably going to be putting out a team that is probably actually a mix of the players that we expect to see starting and players that we less expect to see. So they're not going to have had the proper chance to gel together as well as you'd expect.
mhm.
First game of the season, primed to make mistakes. I think that I think that it would just be very Saints of us to make it much more difficult for ourselves than it needs to be, right?
Yeah, we said a lot of like that's very Saints last season, and then we ended up doing things that weren't very Saints. And I think that a lot of the Saints rule books per se of last
Mm.
minute. I don't know how much of it's been ripped up by the whole controversy we've had to face already, right? And I think
Yeah.
it'll also be fascinating to see how if we get our first taste of like the Spygate banter, and by that I mean like post the whole thing happening, right? Because there was the whole thing when Middlesbrough came to play at St Mary's, and everyone had laugh and joke about it. But like we've had the serious consequences of it now, and I think that people will be looking to jump on that. Fans of every opposition we play probably this season will have to see how loud that gets and whether or not it actually creates kind of as has been pointed out a lot before a siege like mentality where we subsequently have to get louder to deal with it and subsequently the players react better. But
Mm.
you're right, it's going to be we're really excited to return to football and then we're going to talk about it on Monday and I feel like it's going to be like that is also just a possibility. But again, I think that's more to do with just how early it's come into the
Yeah.
year. Like it barely feels like the season ended. We had so much drama at the end of it. We've had like we ourselves have had like a month off. In between that, we've still done a lot of content. There's been a whole World Cup barely finished. We've had this like weird week of civil war where all of the various footballing nations have got mad at each other over the Infantino private investment stuff. And then now all of a sudden it's kicking off again. Although it's not our first league game, you're right. It's going to be big and it's going to be important. And I don't know if it's very Saints. I think it's just it would be very human to allow sloppy mistakes to kind of dishearten ourselves early on. And I hope we don't, go out of the cup first time round. But you've also made the point multiple times, mate, that we can actually do with not concentrating on a competition that, you know,
Yeah.
if we finish mid table, win the Carabao Cup, is that what
Yeah.
people want? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
But
it's a trophy.
nah, look. I think that it's acceptable to make a stand and want to win your first game and then quietly accept defeat in the second round by fielding a team of players that we're never going to see again. Right? Like, there's no shame in that when the season gets real and all of a sudden the Carabao Cup is a midweek fixture between two games. You can bow out at that point without too much judgment. But I think that first game of the season losing to an opposition 2 leagues below you, probably not the precedent you want to
Sets a
set.
tone, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It sets a tone, and that's the problem. Is that we've already discussed we need to start this season fast if we have any hope of getting where we want to be. And not as delusionally as I think it was last season that we were just going to win the league immediately, especially after our start with Will Still. But like we know what we're capable of, we know what the opposition is around us. So yeah, I just think it's going to either be a perfect opportunity to get a really solid win to start the campaign, even if it's not actually points on the board. But I also wouldn't be upset if it's a solid opportunity to see where some of our B team is at, because I think that is going to be important this season. And you saw the difference that the January transfers made because it was fresh legs. And I can't Brie amongst them, by the way, because essentially he was. And how much that galvanised us towards the end of the season. So we need to know what our current tool kit is like and how well they play together. Like, I don't know if Rorislev has played with like a Dozy and stuff like that. Things that could be potentially important
different
later down the line.
combinations. You're right. It'll be interesting to see who's named in the starting lineup, and I wouldn't be surprised to see lots of players, lots of changes as well in through the game. Probably the maximum allowance of subs to be expected. Right, let's have a quick rundown of the numbers before we get into our score predictions. So, as you alluded to earlier, Zach, last time we played them was 2011, which was actually the fourth game in back-to-back seasons of playing against them. We played in 2009, 2010, 2011. So 4 matches in recorded history against Colchester, so a huge set of data to go off. A win apiece and 2 draws for whatever that means. Obviously, no point, even less point now looking at like current form than normal because it's a brand new season. So form from last year, does that even carry over? I mean, maybe that's an entire debate for another episode.
To be clear, we did play them more than that, mate. It was just that back before the leagues entirely changed because we played them in the Championship in 2007. Yeah, there were 4 back-to-back games in over those couple of years where draw, loss, win. And this is to answer your next question, which I'm assuming is going to be, does any of that matter? My answer to that is no, never has. Like playing a team with the most. There are going to be people probably listening to this podcast, mate, that were not alive when the last time we played them, let alone have a clue or care about any of the people. None of the players are the same. Like I don't even know. Might have, depending on timelines, we were already a thing at St Mary's at that point. I'll lose my mind.
Yeah, we were.
So yeah, but you need to remember that when it comes to history, I think that you've got to establish history over like the last couple of years, whatever. Sure, maybe going back as far as like 2019, 2020, when people like remember stuff. But this is very much,
Well, I think there's also something to be said about the like total historic numbers if you've played a team every season for an extended period of time, because there comes with that some kind of mentality. But you're right, in this instance, the fact that we won 1 and drew 1 in the home and away fixtures when we played them in 2011, probably not going to have a huge impact on the outcome of the game.
Right, so I have an awkward question for you though, mate. So, it's going to be slightly awkward. If we know we only spied those 3 games last season, right? Stay on the path with me. So say we spied the games we admitted to, and we didn't spy anything else, and that's true. Happy days. What if we did it more than we said we did? And now we've come up to our first game where we come up against an opposition where we're unable to do the thing that maybe gave us an advantage last season. Do you think that can make a difference?
I think that whilst the EFL investigation felt very rushed and put through, the FA investigation has very clearly been very thorough and gone through text and stuff as well, and all of the texts that were submitted. And I think that had there been even an inkling that the story that we've heard of it was those 3 times wasn't true, Tonda would be facing considerably more than 3 charges, 1 for each incident. So I think at this point, it is safe to assert that the version of events that we have been told by Tonda is as close to the truth as we're going to get, and I think it'll be fine.
To be clear, it's not something I believe. I just know that if we have a rough patch of form this season, it will be a thing.
Those questions are going to come up.
It's a question that's going to be asked. I don't think it's going to be asked even like I just have internally. I think there'll probably be a lot of noise maybe outside. But it's just one of those things where, like, is it going to make a difference?
You're right. It probably won't come up internally. It won't come up internally, I don't think, but it will come up immediately as, I can't win a game now, you're not spying. Just isn't true, I don't think.
Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of hoping you're right, we just go out and absolutely dominate it.
And look, the bookies think we will. We are heavy favourites, unsurprisingly, coming into this game. Obviously, we're coming into this game 21 games unbeaten in the league as well. You know, I know that form doesn't necessarily carry over across seasons, but we've got all of the numbers realistically in our favour. Did you want to take a stab in the dark at what my AI stat website's prediction is for the game?
The chances for us to score are very high. Very high chance of Southampton winning. Southampton's away form is very good. Colchester's home form is middling / poor.
What do you think? They've gone as far as giving a direct score prediction. What do you think that score prediction is?
It's usually 2-1, right?
Yeah, you nailed it. It's 2-1. A game that should open up because Colchester can threaten at home. Amazing.
It's painful. It's genuinely painful. Like, what's the most common score ever? 2-1, right? Yeah, let's just
that's it. With that said, mate, as always, as is tradition, I'm going to ask you first. How do you see the game playing out? What score are you going for?
I want to say, like, in my heart of hearts, what I want is something like a 4-0. I want to be able to watch 2 goals each half of the game. I want to watch goals from 4 goal scorers. I don't mind where they come from because, again, like, predicting this lineup until we start to see what they want to do is going to be hard. I would love to see a goal from Dobbin. I would maybe even like to see a goal from Downs. I think that would be a really nice way to start for both him and us before he ramps up any more criticism. I understand that some of that was probably warranted, but we all have a redemption arc, let's face it. So yeah, 2 goals first half, 2 goals second half. I'd like Dobbins and Downs to score 4-0.
Nice. Yeah, I would take that. Look
at that optimism, mate. Yeah. Drilling it into me over the years.
Oh, you've really thrown me off here, mate, because I had a thought coming into this and I was going to say 4-0 as well, and I just don't feel like
just do what you do whenever you're feeling optimistic, mate, and just add another number to that. Just make it 5.
No, you're right. 5-0, and we'll add a Jack Stevens header into the mix as well. Why not?
Do you think Tom Fellows is ever going to score a goal?
I just don't think he starts.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, he was out of the pre-season game with a knock where he would have played specifically in the league.
Yeah, to be clear, like, I wasn't really expecting. I just mean at all this season.
Yeah,
you were talking about that game, right? Okay,
nailed on. Tom Fellows score this season, 100%.
Sure, buddy.
I'll put my money where my mouth is, and I'll put a real money bet on that as well, for sure.
Interesting. I look forward to that.
I'll work out what that
being lost over the years and fluttering away. And
sorry, are we in the Are we in the 1970s? It's obviously an online one, mate. I'm not going to a shop.
That's a shame.
It involves leaving the house, you know.
Yeah, I know, but like that way there can be a physical reminder of your failure.
Oh dear. But
Anywho,
yeah,
I jest. I would love nothing more than when Fellows returns to actually score goals, but alas, either way, 5-0, 4-0, mate. Those aren't little predictions, are they?
no,
They're
mate,
quite
they
beefy.
are the standard level of delusion that we come into games with, and I'm
Perfect.
sure that 3 games into the season we'll feel much more beaten down by it. But look, that's it. Football's back live on Sky
It is back.
Sports main event tomorrow. For those not aware, so if you're not travelling to Colchester, at least you can watch it on the telly. I can't wait. We're going to be back on Monday to talk about how it played out and if our predictions were right. It's really good. Let us know your score predictions and how you think the game's going to play out in the comments on the socials. We are Daily Saints Pod, absolutely everywhere. So hit us up and let us know. We're on X, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. Hit us up and let us know. Until Monday, though, everybody, have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the football being back, and we will see you then.
This is the Daily Saints Pod with Zach and Greg.